Hey, how's it going, guys? Just out adventuring on this beautiful spring day. It's snowing. It's been raining anywhere lower than 6,000 feet for a few days and snowing up here, anything above that. So, found a really cool spot and ended up finding this little cave in here, just out, like I said, adventuring around. What I wanted to do today is start a series, like a mini series with a few episodes on the 10 C's of survivability. It's not a new idea. I didn't come up with the idea, but not everybody watches the same YouTube channels or reads the same books or blogs or subscribes to the same things, and I believe that it's really good foundation for what you should have in your car or on you if you're out and about as a minimum. Like a really good foundation. A couple days ago we were out, and we're in a reliable all-wheel drive vehicle. We were out about 10 miles in on some old gold claim roads at about 8,000 feet, and we high centered on some snow, and if it wasn't for some hunters coming by, we would have had to spend the night. We dug for a few hours. We laid down logs. I mean, we were really stuck. And I was actually planning on starting this video then. We ended up being really busy. Even with the hunters trying to tow us back up, we got out of the woods, it was just getting dark. Walking wouldn't have happened that night. We would have had to spend the night. My point was kind of reiterated for me, and I'm glad I had the stuff on me, and I do have a car kit. And I also realized that it doesn't matter what time of the year it is here where I go, I need to keep a snow shovel in the car, my foldable snow shovel. But anyway, we're going to start the series, and it's the 10 C's of survivability. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down and do 2 of the C's at a time. So today is the introduction, and we'll do the first 2 C's, which is cutting tools and combustion. So stay tuned. We're going to go down in this little cave I found, and we'll get to that. I wouldn't call it as much as a cave as just, a really good overhang, but it would be a great spot in an emergency, and I might come back here, spend the night just for fun. There is a burnt log down there, so I think someone's done it before. Get down in here. It's nice and dry. Not a lot of scat or anything, so I don't think the Yotes are done up in here. At least not recently. And we are on federal land, and they have been doing some, as you can see, clearing, which I'm really glad to see, because a lot of the woods out here are really getting wrecked up from beetle kill, and they need to do some select cutting. If I would see more of this, especially in the Highland Mountains here that I'm usually in the foothills, I would be very happy with that. So, enough of looking around. It's beautiful out today. There's a really nice creek down on the bottom of there. It's really small, and I can hear it way down that dip. There is a road that I was driving on, and it's actually about 5 miles more in toward the Big Peaks is where we got stuck a couple days ago. And there's a fire pit here. So this is a spot somebody came to. I'm not too far off the road. I'm kind of still exploring these roads now that they're becoming more accessible because it's not under a bunch of snow. And I don't know if you can see, the frost line is literally right there. It's about 33 to 34 degrees where I'm standing. And literally right there where it's foggy, you can see all the trees. That's the frost line. So the frost line's like 100 feet above my head. It's actually a really neat spot. I mean, if this is somebody's favorite spot, I won't cramp their style, but we got some little puff mushrooms. All right, well, maybe I'll just come out here and we'll use this little pit. Better get going because this is gonna be a long video and just something that's supposed to be really short. What I was gonna try to do is keep these videos down to like 5-8 minutes. This being the introduction, be a little longer. I haven't, besides the drive the other day, I haven't been out in like a week or so. Get to it. We're gonna get to the first 2 C's in the 10 C's of survivability: cutting tools and combustion. The first 2 C's. For the first 2 C's of the 10 C's of survivability, or 10 C's of survival, we're going to do combustion and cutting tools. Now, it sounds pretty self-explanatory, and this is really bare bones basics. I'd like to do some more things on like the very basics. I assume, and it's wrong of me to assume, that everybody watching this type of a channel is somebody who's either got a very similar channel or is just as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable. You know, I'm not an expert by any means. I can take care of myself. But I need to, and I want to, really get down to some of the bare bones basics. So besides this 10 C's of survivabilities, look forward to more short basics, bow drills, just how to stack a fire, how to get a fire going from start, a little more explanation. If you watched my chat video, you'll see that I'm going to get into really doing this for a living. I'm going to take some certifications, and I want to do this for a living. So the things that I know and I assume are common knowledge are not, and it's arrogant of me to assume that. And we're going to get down to some basics. So with that said, let's get into these 2: cutting tools and combustion. Alright, so cutting tools. If you are a subscriber and you watch me, you'll probably see some of the stuff that I've already shown you. On me at all times is going to be at least 2 full tang straight edge blades. The uses are endless. Processing wood, making traps, cleaning game or fish. The uses for knives are endless. I won't get into the very specific uses of it. What we're going to do is we're going to combine the 2 today: the cutting tools and the combustion. So on me I have the Mora Garberg. It's a full tang carbon steel knife, Scandi grind, the orange lanyard so it's easy to find if I drop this, and then my tried and true, my Gerber Prodigy. It's in a 420 high carbon, stainless, very sharp, full tang orange lanyard in case I lose it. As you can see, the colors, if I drop that out here hiking through these rocks, the orange is going to help me find this a lot quicker, especially if it was starting to get dark and I drop this all black knife out in these damp woods. So those are the straight blades that are going to be on me at all times. With the 10 C's, you're going to want some redundancies. Think of it as this: 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you lose one, you have a backup. So with all these, have a redundancy, have a backup. If one gets broken, destroyed, burnt, lost, do I have a replacement with me that'll get that same job done just as well and get me through the situation? Now, these are survival things. Like I said, we got stuck. We would have had to spend the night. Now, if I was out here, I was just wearing a t-shirt because it was warm in the car. You know, maybe we had stopped and got, you know, some Subway on the way, so we ate, we're good, we're just going for a drive. There was nothing in the car except for, you know, your basic car tools. We would have had to rely on the car. Now, if we were stuck out for 2 days, we ran out of gas, we lost heat. Now I have to worry about starting a fire. And there's many ways I could have done that with the vehicle. But to have these things in your car, have a car kit, or if you're out just day hiking, you never know when that situation is going to turn into an overnight. Or you sprain your ankle, and getting out is going to take you a lot longer, or trying to find a road to find help. These are things you really need on you. So cutting tools. Cutting tools all the time. So straight, full tang, sturdy knives. You know, these aren't going to break anytime soon. I can hack, I can pry if I really need to. If it's an emergency, I'm going to do things to these knives that I wouldn't have to. If I found an old hunting cabin or an old gold claim shed or something that I needed to really get into, you know, try to find the owner after and explain the situation as an emergency. I wouldn't go breaking and entering to try things. But if it was an emergency and you had to get into some old building out here, if you had to pry a door, something that's going to get you you know, nice and sturdy. So the cutting tools. Now these are on me usually, but these aren't something I'm going to be carrying around just going for a walk. Something to process larger wood. Now I actually do have these strapped to my pack on day hikes. They're a little hefty, maybe a little more than I should have to carry or someone would carry. But I carry these with me anyway, and I have a set of tools in the car that after that last experience, I'm going to have something like this in the car at all times also. So your cutting tools, all your wood processing ability right here. A fire that night for us would have been 100% necessary. We could have stayed warm in the car. We would have cut it pretty close. I mean, we were less than a half a tank of gas, plenty to get there and back a few times. But if we had to spend the entire evening there, there was about 100 feet of visibility, and it was snowing really good. I would have wanted to conserve the gasoline in the car for getting unstuck and getting out, and would have wanted a fire for warmth. Being able to process wood is probably the main reason you want the cutting tools. But the knives, like I said, 100 different uses for that. So there's your cutting tools. We'll get into combustion next, and we'll actually combine both of these first two C's here in the next step. All right, the second C in the 10 C's of survival is combustion. Now combustion is your ability to make fire. It's another thing that you want a redundancy. 1 is none, 2 is 1. 2 is 1, 1 is none. But with combustion, I really suggest having 3 or 4 different ways to get a fire started. I have a small pouch here that I keep my cordage, which is a different C for a different day, and my combustion. So this is my Helicon Tech Matilda Bushcraft Series backpack. We'll do something on that when I get a little more hours on it. So here in this water resistant Cordura bag, I have a Bic lighter, got my Altoid tin. Now combustion is your way to start the fire, but included in that, I'm going to show some things I keep on me, especially for a day like today. If you look, it's soaking wet out. That'll help me get that fire started. So having some kind of fire starting material, I'm going to include in that second C of combustion. It's not only starting the fire, what am I starting it with? Even if you had some fast food napkins in the glove box of your car, something for a situation like today to get it started. So in this tin, I've got some wood shavings and a couple pieces of fat wood that I can scrape down and get it going. So we've got a lighter, we got the tinder and the fire extender. I've got another tin, and in this tin I have quaking aspen inner bark and some fat wood shavings. I can light this right in the tin, place this down and get my fire going, which I think I'm going to do for this demonstration. Also on me, 99.9% of the time, is my ferrule rod. Again with the orange lanyard, so if I drop this, it doesn't just get lost. There's a really good story about this, why you should really keep an eye on your ferrule rod. If you know who Joe Robinette is, if you don't, look him up. He's a very popular YouTuber. He was on the first season of Alone on Vancouver Island. Wet situation. Made this look nice and comfy dry. And he admits he probably could have pushed a little farther, but it was, not only was it really hard for him to get a fire going afterwards, but it was just detrimental to his psychological strength once he lost it. But this was his only source of fire for that season of Alone. And he had a 6-inch one of these, and he put it down on top of his coat. He was on a black sand beach in the dank northwest. He lifted his coat, it took a flip, went somewhere. He realized it was gone. He went back to look for it. He never found it. So this orange lanyard, if you had an orange lanyard like this on that show, I think that first season, the winner got $500,000. So something as small as maybe a tag on his thing or a lanyard attached to his pocket might have cost him $500,000. Now, we're not talking about winning any money. We're talking about your life if it's a survival situation. If the lighter ran out of gas, got broken, it was in your pack, and this button was being depressed the whole time, had no fuel, you might get that spark off of that, work with it. this isn't going to break or run out of fuel. You don't want to lose this. So we've got our tinder and our tins, our Bic lighter, our ferrule rod. Our ferrule rod is where our cutting tool comes into key. You can get scrapers. Nice 90-degree spine on both my knives. Again, like I said, there's some cordage in this bag too, but that's a different sieve for a different day. Another fire starter that I believe is tried and true for me, I've used it many times, is cotton balls that are soaked in Vaseline, petroleum jelly. They're a little gooey to touch, but you get one of these out of here, and I'll do this quickly before we actually start a fire. You get a flame on one of these cotton balls soaked in Vaseline. Got your Bic lighter. Now that's going to give you some extended time to get some of this wet kindling going. So that's a cotton ball soaked in Vaseline. So that's a redundancy, and like I said, I'm going to include the combustion as my fire starting materials also. So there's 3 different redundancies in my ability to start a fire. We also have some storm-proof matches. So there's another redundancy on an ability to start a fire. Now also, you'll see a lot of these C's cross over into each other, but on here I have some Gorilla Tape, and cargo tape is one of the C's also. But it also folds into combustion. So if you took a piece of this Gorilla Tape or any duct tape, because of the adhesive, it's a really good fire starter also. So if you get that going, because of the adhesive, this is a fire extender fire starter also. So you'll see some duct tape on various items. So right there, the cotton ball's still going. We got the duct tape going. And last but not least, I don't always carry a carbon steel knife. And one of the other C's, see, they all intertwine, is cotton bandanas. And what I could do with that Altoid tin is make char cloth. And we'll do that when we get to the cotton bandana C of the 10 C's. What you could do with a carbon steel knife is it will throw sparks when hit with a piece of flint. A nice hard piece of quartz will do it. Try different stones. I know there's some that'll work and some won't, but you can knock a spark off a carbon steel, but you're not going to knock a very good spark off a stainless. If you look at a lot of outdoor survival guys, that's why they only carry carbon steel, because if it came down, they can knock a spark off of this and get some char cloth going. There are some really great ways to get a fire going. You got bow drills, hand drills, and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to say that for another time. This is something that you're going to be carrying in your pack. So we had the cutting tools and we had combustion. So the first 2 C's on the 10 C's of survivability: cutting tools and combustion. Very important. Now these C's aren't in any order of priority. They're a basic foundation that should be all together. In this pack here, I have the C's covered. I have a car kit that I have the C's covered. I think I need to put a tarp in because it's in the other vehicle. So I might not have one of the C's, which is covered. But what we're going to do here is really quickly, we're going to use this tin here. This has fat wood shavings and some inner bark from a quaking aspen. If I take my ferrule rod, now I could do it automatically with the lighter or the matches. And if this is a survival situation, get it done as fast as possible and as easy as possible. This temperature I'm in is very dangerous, actually. If I was out hiking all day, I was sweating from the hike, I would have some kind of rain gear on, which is actually going to keep my body moisture in, so I would be damp on the inside. If I fell into a creek, if I slid down a hill and got wet from the snow, that 40-degree to freezing range is very dangerous to be cold in. Hypothermia can set in very quick, and hypothermia is a sneaky girl. You don't even realize it. You're cold at first, but actually as hypothermia really sets in, you stop feeling cold. You start thinking you're okay. When you stop shivering and stuff, you're in a lot of trouble. So this damp cold is actually really dangerous. I would rather be cold out in freezing cold instead of damp cold. I could get somewhere and it'd be dry. Here, everything is damp. So if you got damp down into your clothes, down to the bone, it takes a lot to warm up again. So hypothermia is a real deal. With all that said, we're going to get this going. So here's my cutting tool. Here's a combustion device. I could use those, like I said, if it's an emergency. Go as fast as you can, as easy as possible, get the job done. Right now, it's not an emergency, and I just enjoy using this. So that fat wood catches right on, and then with the inner bark from the quaking aspen, gives me a little something that the resins from that fat wood can kind of soak down into. So this actually gives me quite a bit of time to go ahead and try to dry out some of this wet tinder. So this stuff here is pretty damp. We can get it in there. Just some of these small pencil lead thick pieces. Get them drying out. And even if we can only get 1 or 2 of these little sticks going, we're going to be in pretty good shape. Now, this is a situation where I was going to be relying on this fire to cook my food, sanitize my water, and keep me from hypothermia. I would have taken, depending on the situation, I would have taken the time to collect my woods and get myself situated before I started the fire. This is an example. If you are freezing cold, you're losing your ability to use your fingers, something like this is nice because I got it started, it's going, and now I can slowly start adding stuff and start getting some of the warmth back into my body. Alright, so there you have it. That's the first 2 C's of the 10 C's of survivability, or the 10 C's of survival. They're a basic foundation of what you should have on you, or in your vehicle, or both like I do, at all times, I believe, but especially if you spend any time in the backcountry, any time in the woods, hiking, camping. These are your basics, your absolutes. It's like I said, it's the foundation. Build from there. Have some redundancies. So today we covered cutting tools and combustion. Next week we're going to cover cover and cordage. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. God bless. If there's something that you're interested in seeing, please leave some comments. I want to know, because I want to get into some more basic tutorials also, along with some overnight adventure videos. So help me with the direction of my channel also. It's young, it's pliable, it's new, and I'm always susceptible to change to bring you guys what you want to see. So we got enough fire here that we know we can maintain it. I'm going to enjoy this little fire and skedaddle. It's beautiful out. So thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Get out and enjoy. It's springtime. So thanks again, and God bless.